All right, we're
Okay,
live.
live.
Cool. I'm on the road, so I don't have my fancy mic,
Mhm.
and so I hope you can hear me though, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So what are we talking about this week?
In the latest Lean Publishing daily newsletter, right at the top is Barry O'Reilly's book, Residues, Time, Change, and Uncertainty in Software Architecture. I had a really good interview with him when the book came out for the podcast. It's a very interesting kind of melding of software architecture theory and philosophy. And it's, only kind of software architects and Haskell programmers that I get to talk about Heidegger with in the podcast. As I have joked before, I think it's a very good book. If you're interested in software architecture and how advancements in technology are changing that field, uh, Barry's pretty cutting edge. I would highly recommend it. It's just very interesting conceptually. And I'm not a programmer, but I've interviewed countless programmers and software architects for the podcast and stuff, and so it's just quite fascinating. Um, uh, Anne-Marie Charrett's book, The Quality Coach's Handbook, is also there as for a deal. I just wanted to mention there's also a course, the Quality Coach's Handbook course, that you can find if you're more interested in sort of having more content and than the book. The course has much of the book's content, but also couple hours of interviews between me and Anne Marie, where she shares her knowledge, hard-won knowledge and wisdom about. Basically, you can think about it as something like quality testing, where software testing is a subset of that, but just higher level kind of product management, quality stuff. There's a lot to learn if you're part of a team in a big company, or you're leading a small company that's producing any kind of product. You'll have a lot to gain from that. Yeah, and yeah, there are other great deals in there. The Rails 8 Way is a bonus book deal, which is really good. And then there's Atomic Kotlin by Bruce Eckel and Svetlana Isakova, which is also a really good book.
Hold on. Wow, the Rails 8 Way is only $16.80. Jeez, that's amazing. Okay, if you're a Rails person, obviously anyone who's done anything with Rails ever knows that the Rails Way is one of the classics. So you have no excuse not to get this book if you don't have it. So if you do anything with Rails, get this. And if you don't get it, you do something with Rails, shame on you. Get this book. It's awesome. And Obi's
Mm-hmm.
great. And yeah. Um, sorry, there's a lot of sirens.
No,
Um,
that's just a
I
part of
will.
this kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. Again, I'm on the road, so whatever. Okay. So yeah, we got podcast. So okay, so let me see. I'll move on to a few things. One is just to follow up on this thing in case you missed it from our previous live stream. Some people are phishing Leanpub authors, pretending to be me, sending emails from this email address, which is a Gmail address, pretending to be me. So just straight up fraud, or sending email from as this person and with this email, and they're pretending to be associated with Leanpub, and they're not. I only email from Peter at Leanpub or Peter at Rubos. Len only ever emails from Len at Leanpub. Sometimes he might email from Len at Rubos. The only real emails from Leanpub are from Leanpub or Rubos. Rubos is the company that I founded back in 2008. Len and I are co-founders of Leanpub. So at leanpub.com or at rubos.com is real. At gmail.com, if it pretends to be from us, is fake. We never send authors. No one from Rubos or from Leanpub will ever email an author from a Gmail email address. I have a Gmail address, so does Len. Most of you do. We'll never email you from it. Okay, I want to talk about a couple things. First of all, if you're a Leanpub author and you have not entered our Global Author Max giveaway, you should do that. Why is that? Because we have very few responses. We have currently 8 responses, which is very small. And why is that? Well, our authors are very successful, busy people, and this form is just long enough that it'll take you 3 minutes maybe to fill it out. And so, like, we have lots of authors, lots of them I think have seen this form. I mentioned it on our author newsletter, but it's like, oh God, a marketing survey. Don't want to be marketed to. Don't want to do a survey. And so literally right now, one lucky person, right now, anyone who's currently answered this form has a 12.5% chance of winning. So sorry to those 8 people. I do want more people to enter. So if you're wondering where is this form, what I will do is I will copy the responder link right now. I'll shorten the URL, and I'll just post it on Twitter. But I'll just go to Twitter right now, and I'll switch to Leanpub's Twitter, and then I'll come back. Give me a second. Leanpub. Leanpub's
You can
Twitter
find it on
is
our blog as well.
right. Yeah, I'll just tweet it. So like, here we go. Enter our global author max giveaway. Very few entries currently.
Yeah, and if you go to leanpub.com/blog, you'll find an article there about Global Author Max grand prize giveaway. It's really easy to find. Leanpub.com/blog.
If you're a Leanpub author, enter our list. And so I'll just add to stage my browser. So I'm on the stage, yeah?
Yes.
And post. Okay, cool. So yeah, if you're watching this, this might have just paid off for you to watch this live stream. Okay, another thing. So on Calendly, we have a handful of events that so Len and I both have Calendly pages. Right now, the main calendly.com/leanpub is just the one that goes to my calendar. Len's is len-leanpub. I have a few different things that I'm doing. I'm doing these author quick starts. This is actually super useful. So basically, if you're like, hey, I don't know how to get started, or else I've started, but I don't know how to, where to go from here and how to do things, and you want to go deep, this is I did one of these earlier this week. Earlier this week, the cost was $249, but it was supposedly a 60-minute meeting. I am talking with someone for 2 hours, and it was just great. And we went through everything. It was super useful for them. And I love talking to Leanpub authors as well. So you'd be like, well, why are you charging money? It's like, well, I'll charge money because people take it seriously if you charge money. And also, we have a credit. So if you do this thing, we give you $349 credit toward marketing packages or AI services or whatever, or literally a lifetime standard membership. So I love talking to Leanpub authors. You can click here and get on my calendar. My calendar, I started at 6 a.m. and I go to 6 p.m. Pacific time. So I had these on Saturdays as well. I decided to take Saturdays off. They might come back. But right now it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time is when you can put things on my calendar. This is the author quick start. There's 2 others that exist. There's the Leanpub Zoom call. This is a sort of general, anyone in the world can book this. It was free, but the problem with that is I literally had someone booking an appointment. This is a month or so ago to market services to me. And it's no, we're not doing that. And then this is also to make sure that people show up and yada. So I made it cost $99. I don't want to earn money directly from this. I'm not selling my time in 30-minute increments. It's not why I'm here. But so if you show up, it's refunded, either just as a straight up refund or credited for Leanpub services at your choice. If you don't show up, not refunded, because it's I don't I'd much rather be locked in zone coding than sitting in a Zoom call that's not happening. And the last one is something which I haven't even promoted this anywhere on Leanpub yet, which is this sort of launch and pricing quick start. Basically, I think many Leanpub authors could do with spending half an hour. Do you hear the dog in the background? Should I close this window?
It's fine.
Okay. Many Leanpub authors could do with a good sort of 20 to 40-minute conversation around hey, how is my book priced? Like when they're launching their book, how is it currently priced? What is my pricing strategy for it? What's the minimum price? What minimum price should I have? What suggested price should I have? Do I allow a free purchase? Also, should I have like, say I want to do like something like for example, here's like, let me just make up an example, which is like similar to stuff I've seen in real life. Say you're like a Leanpub author and you're writing about some niche topic, but you're not famous and you have kind of like, low self-esteem, but like, well, I'm not famous. Maybe I'll charge $10 or $20 or $15. And it's like, okay, chances are this thing you wrote, and I look at the book and it's like, wow, this is like a really, really important resource on a really niche topic by someone who really knows what they're talking about. Okay, that's not a $10 thing. That's like a $29 thing, or like a $19 thing if you're being shy. But like, and it's like, but then someone might be like, well, what if people can't afford it? Okay, great. Then what you can do is say $9 minimum price, 19 suggested, or $9 minimum price, 29 suggested. Or you can decide, hey, instead of 9 and this, how about we say like 19 minimum, 29 suggested. But there's more things you can do. You can say like, okay, um, I have this book. I want to make it as accessible as possible to people all over the world. Well, okay, some countries are rich, some countries are less rich. So what to do? Well, you can have your core book have a free minimum price and a $29 suggested price. And then you can have extras that you bundle in. And you can say, okay, if you want some of these extras, you have to pay. And so, and this is, by the way, I'm not making anything up. Like, for example, if I go to leanpub.com/rprogramming, free minimum price, $20 suggested price. This guy mustn't make very much money from his book, right? Well, this is one of our best-selling books of all time. And, you know, so you can go free or you can pay. Now, what if you're free and you're like, hey, you know what? I want the data sets and the R code files. Oh, now all of a sudden you have to pay. Oh, what if I also want some video? Oh, now I pay even more minimum, right? Brilliant. Okay, but now what if I wanted, instead of just reading the book and getting data sets and getting videos, what if I could like turn this book into a course, right? And so we've published this one, right?
Yes.
Let's go find it. We just literally did this like a day or two ago. So here it is now. Here it is now as a course, right? So you can take a free thing on Leanpub and then layer in value. You can have, now you have the data set. Oh, it's $20. Now you have the data sets and code files, $20. And videos, $30. And now it's a course. So you get quizzes, exercises, automated marketing, get a certificate, do it at work. Have your company have like, oh, you have to take a course because like your HR people like to know you're learning stuff. Take a course, right? Like you see my screen, right? I hope I'm not in my normal
Yes.
setup. Okay, good. So this, by the way, is like if you wonder why does Peter keep yapping on about Course AI, right? This is why. It's awesome. So yeah, so that's the thing I want to emphasize is, and it all comes back to pricing again, right? Like what should something cost? And does the fact that things are freely available mean it has no value? No, of course not. Microservices Masterclass, Dave Farley, $129 course. If you subscribe to his YouTube channel, you've been watching Dave for years, every single minute of the video in this course is from his YouTube channel. But we just set it up and curated it and made it into a really good course, right? And Dave tells you right here exactly what we've done, right? And it's worth it. If you're thinking of doing something with microservices, you could do a lot worse things than spend a day with Dave Farley hearing pros and cons of how to get started, right? And like if you're a serious person at a serious company doing things with microservices, trust me, you're gonna be spending a lot more than $129 in development.
Yeah, and you're going to
Right?
want to share it. You're going to want to get a copy for everyone on your team too, so that you're all on the same page.
You need to have a discussion. What you
Yeah.
guys do the course, learn,
Hmm.
think, and have a meeting about what are we going to do. Are we going to start
Yes.
with one repository or multiple? By the way,
Hmm.
there's a right answer to that. Should we do a monolith first? How should we do this? How should we evolve our API? Blah, 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 right? So,
Yeah.
so good. So yeah, so like
And
everything is good.
one thing I would add that might have gotten skipped there is like when you publish a book on Leanpub, you can upload digital files as we call them extras, and then you can create a package of the book plus the digital file. So you can make it so people can buy the book or the book plus some digital file that you've uploaded, and that can be videos, that could be code samples if you've written a programming book, things like that. And that's one of the things that, like, I'm sure there are other platforms where you can do things like that, but there's no kind of book platform that I know of, dedicated book platform that lets you add extras like that. So for example, if you want to sell an ebook and an audiobook package, that is trivially easy to do on Leanpub. Like trivially easy to set up. We've got a video, I think it's a video, but there's helps in our articles. Ask us if you run into problems. We'll fix it. We'll fix the instructions, etc. But like, it's trivially easy to look. That might look like very complicated what Roger's done there.
It's not.
But it's
upload
not.
A file and check a checkbox.
The complicated part is writing the book. The complicated part is making the code files. The complicated part is doing hours of lecture videos. But actually setting up packages and selling them is easy.
So again, here's the deal. It's all easy. But even easier than figuring it out is booking a Zoom call with me, and we'll, in the Zoom call, do everything. In the call. At the end of the call, it's all done. And then you're like, oh, that cost me $129. And then you get a $179 credit, which is like a shelf spot for a month. You get in one of our 150,000 plus monthly sale newsletter, like monthly sale newsletter goes to 150,000 plus people. A weekly sale newsletter goes to over 100,000 people. And you're on our homepage for a month. And like, this is like, if you think about it, it's like right now there's lots of things on the shelf, right? But we have room. We have room for like 36 books on the shelf. Right now we're half full at 18. So, you know, yeah, basically like, you can do a lot. If you want a sort of helpful, you know, helping hand, getting everything set up, Len and I try to make things easy, and as far as we're concerned, it's easy, but we've been living inside this for 15 years. And so, like, you know, if you're from the outside, there's just so much power in Leanpub that you might be like, oh, I'm a bit lost. And, you know, yeah, email hello, we can point you at help center articles and stuff. But if you want me just to hold your hand and like walk you through it all, like over Zoom, I can do that. Yeah, and we just wanted to help Leanpub authors succeed. It's really great seeing like all these, you know, variety of books that are coming out now. Cool. Len, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I was just actually Ed Abramovich was asking when are audiobooks coming in the comments. I'm not sure, but by the way, everybody, we're still new to the streaming. That's why you might see funny things, and we're still getting new to it. But I responded, at least in the StreamYard comments section here, saying that we don't have a tool for producing audiobooks ourselves yet, but you can sell audiobook files on Leanpub as an extra along with your original book, and then you obviously for a higher price. And again, like it's funny, like it's being able to do that is just kind of on an online bookstore, being able to just add an audiobook and sell it for a higher price as a package along with your original book is just a very cool thing.
So let's just talk about this for a minute. Let's just like before we like, so think about this as a Leanpub author, right? And so from Leanpub side of things, eventually there will presumably be a one-click button you can click to get an audiobook from your book. It totally makes sense to do. Now, for a computer programming book, some people might get like the thing is the audiobook part gets easier and easier and more trivial, right? Like, you know, like AWS has, you know, I've seen like, you know, there's good APIs now, and like the quality of it doesn't sound like it's better than what, like, say, like back in the day it was like Amazon Poly. Like there's better choices now, like even from AWS. So there are choices that sound good. And there's lots of services, there's lots of competition here, so it's getting easier and easier to do. We'll do it at some point. For us, probably the number one reason we haven't done it yet, well, the number one reason we haven't done anything yet is that we're like sometime in, like, our current plan is to ship V3 in November, right? So we're like in the last 2 months of work on something that we've been working on as sort of, you know, a meaningful portion of our efforts for quite a while now. And so it's coming out in a couple months. So in the next couple months, the only interesting things that we're launching are like sort of concierge features that involve like us doing things for authors. In terms of software, like changes to the platform, basically almost nothing for the next 2 months. The reason why audiobooks haven't to date been more of a priority is Leanpub is quite like a lot of Leanpub's focus is like computer programming books, technical books, books that like quite often have code samples or diagrams or something. And that doesn't really like, yeah, you could have an audiobook and then you could have like the accompanying code samples as a PDF or something, right? And you could, but that isn't something that you just button click and get. That's something the author has to do work for, right? So like, it's not like if Leanpub was like Wattpad, say it's primarily like fiction, then we presumably would have added like I mean, you can do fiction on Leanpub, but that's not like the core audience, right? So like, um, we presumably would have added audiobooks years ago. At some point, we'll probably just add them because it'll be too tempting not to. It'll be like a button click, and like for many Leanpub books, there would be value in it. Um, but it's not going to happen between now and November. I'll say that much. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, the latest Leanpub podcast was published the other day. It's with Romano Roth. It's a very good podcast episode about something he calls a concept he has called the cybernetic enterprise. It is a very dense book that is very cutting edge. I think we talked about this in an earlier live stream, but like, we're all like, the kind of joke would be like everybody's still at the stage of like, oh, can I, like in the management level, like a lot of people are still in the stage of like, oh, does this mean I'm going to be able to get by with fewer employees or something like that? But like, A, no, probably, because you're going to still be competing with other people. And B, but it's the whole the way enterprises are run is going to change and structured and things like that. And what the reason he uses the word cybernetic is he's saying the future is not AI, the future is cybernetic. It's it's just like when we discovered, tools way back in the day, it made us more powerful. It didn't make us disappear. It made us more useful and capable of doing more things. If you want to compete as an enterprise going forward, that's the way to look at it. And we're just at the beginning of this new phase.
Yeah, he's put a lot of thought into this book. And like hundreds, like just the core of the book is like 550, 560 pages. And then there's like this appendix going into like, basically, if you think about all the various movements and things that have led up into where we are, there's like this 150 page, really amazing summary of like everything from like total production system to lean and all in an appendix, right? Like, but the core of the book is like, it's really good. And so good for him. Free minimum price, $29 suggested. Right on. That's awesome. So yeah, and there's a launch video. Cool. Okay. I think that feels like we're at the end of the live stream. So remember, if you got an email from some guy at gmail.com, did it come from Leanpub? No, it did not. I think that's the end of talking. I'm done talking about
the last thing I'll say is we do have a help center that I should mention as well. If you're a Leanpub author and you're like, oh, my sales haven't been great or my sales have been down and stuff like that, there's lots of articles with some advice in there, including some recordings with me doing attempting some webinars and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely that author. I don't think we've mentioned on the live stream before. I'm sure most authors know about it, but our help center has over 1,000 articles.
685 just for authors.
Yeah, and they're not slop, like they were all handwritten by a person, mostly me, but like taking each issue seriously. That's true, but but like it's kind of like our policy, our sort of strategy with this is like if we have an interaction with somebody with like in this case with an author about anything, it should turn into a help center article. So that anyone with the same issue or facing the same question or improvement to the product or what have you, and our design and stuff like that. But like basically every interaction we have with an author gets captured in a help center article when they're asking questions. How can I do this? How can I do that? Where can I find this? Where can I find that? I'm lost.
Everything from what can the primary author do to can I use Unicode playing card characters, right? Like
yes.
So yeah, very high level to very low level. Right? How do I get a page break?
And if you can't find an answer in there to your question, please email us at hello@leanpub.com about it, and then there will be an article in there for everybody else.
There'll be an article in there.
Yeah. Chances are, yeah,
within a couple of days.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we could talk forever. Just one last thing is, and I'm just saying this because I interacted with someone about it earlier today, but someone wanted to buy like 100 copies of a Leanpub ebook for their team. And you can absolutely do that on Leanpub. In fact, it's quite cool. We've got, like, you can actually, if you've got their email address, you can buy multiple copy purchases of ebooks on Leanpub or courses. And if you can actually use their email address to send them a redeemable kind of like link so that they get their own copy of it. And like, again, it's one of those funny things where it's like actually being able to buy 100 copies of an ebook in one purchase and then have a way of distributing them sitting there. I think we made a batch thing where you can upload a CSV of email addresses. And like, that's
a lot
just
of things.
Amazing.
We should drill into this a little bit actually, because it's fun. So like, there's a number of different ways to think about this. One is, hey, I want to buy a bunch of copies. And so by the way, one thing that we do, you see my screen, right? Yeah. Okay. So you do see this, right?
Yes.
Okay. So one thing we do is we don't try to only have one article about something, because people come in to a question from different angles. And so like, so sometimes we'll create one article, which is like the feeling, like sort of the definitive article, and then someone else is like, some other question, and we'll write like some smaller thing just about that, and then we'll have the bigger link to the bigger thing. But like basically, everything from like, hey, I want to buy an ebook, can I distribute it? Right? And then it's like, okay, here's instructions about how do I buy multiple copies. And so you can buy this, you can go pick, and you can say edit, and you can choose how many copies you want, and blah, blah, blah. But then that's kind of a bit annoying. And so then it's like, hey, how do I like, what if I can buy it with a coupon? And so then you can do stuff like this. But then it's like, can I buy multiple copies of a course? Same sort of thing. And then here's how you send tokens, or you can do a batch entry. And so like, there's all this stuff about how to do it. But then the other thing is, what's even nicer than reading a help center article about something is just being able to do it super easily. With like something that's already set up waiting for you. And so, for example, we have this team edition concept that if you just click down here, you see discount team pack 6 copies, and this is a package. And you can scroll down, and lots of books have this set up where like, hey, I can have a team pack, or say like, for example, Barry O'Reilly, I think his books do this. So if we go say, look at residues. Oops, what? Residuality, sorry, brain not working. So you go buy multiple copies for team, see below for discount. And so quite often, if this thing exists on a Leanpub page, it's because the author set it up. And so basically, we built the feature of like, hey, do you want to enable team discounts? Here you go, right? So like many Leanpub books have this team discount thing where like you can get like this is a $22 book, but you can get like 3 copies for $50, or like 10 copies for $140. So like this idea of, it rewards like, hey, look, honesty, basically. Like, hey, you want to share this with your team? Do you have a 10-person team? Buy this one. Do you have a 25-person? Do you have like a whole department of like 25 people or so? Buy this one, right? And so this is nicely set up. And say like, if you're like, hey, I actually have 50 people, you can just add this to cart, and then just add it to cart. And then in here, you can edit it, and you can just say, I want 2 of them. And then now you're paying $660, right? So you can buy 2 copies of a 25 copy discount, right? So there's all kinds of different ways you can do this. For a normal Leanpub book for a Leanpub book that doesn't have this set up, say, you can just like add it to the cart, and then you can just go like, okay, I'm just gonna edit it and say I want like 100 copies, and say, you know what, I'm gonna pay like, let's just say I'm gonna choose like to pay like $20 for this, say, if I feel like it. $20 per copy, and then update, right? Now I'm paying $2,000. Say I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna pay the minimum price for this. Drag it back down, update. Now I'm paying $999, $999, and then just check out. And so you can. Every Leanpub book has this. Any Leanpub book or course, you can add it to the cart, and yeah, blah. Okay. I think we're probably at the point where this is rambling a bit.
Go for the weekend.
Have a great weekend, guys. Talk to you next week.
See you next week.